Hello again. My name's David. This is the third part of my discussion on my horrible childhood from abuse, and this will probably be the last one. But because there's a few other things that I wanted to bring out. Uh, if you've watched the first part and second part, thank you for watching it. Thanks for the messages of sympathy I've gotten from people. Uh, the understanding. That's all I'm asking for is just understanding. Uh, I wish my family would look at me and understand what I went through and say, hey man, you've done a great job considering all the hell you went through, rather than look at you and go, you're a failure. You'll never amount to nothing. Which to a certain degree, I haven't. I mean, I've had failed relationships. I've had you know, just I've had a miserable life, a very miserable life. Very few things in life has made me happy except for my kids. I love my kids more than anything in the world. But even at that, I wasn't a good parent. Excuse me. And they know it. I told them that. I said I love you. I just don't know how to be a parent. Wasn't taught how to be a parent. I'm not making excuses, but I was their friend, and they all know that. And I have a good relationship with, uh, you know, my son, and I'm his friend, and we have a very strong relationship. But uh, I was abused from the time, like I said. I just remember it must have started when I was about 2 years old to about 15 years old. So for about 13 years, I was being mentally and physically abused to me, which is horrible. The first two I talked about in the first two videos were, to me, the more damaging to me, more threatening to me. The beatings, the way they would just come up. Frank would just sneak up on you and start beating you as a kid. That's a very scary thing. I think that's one of the things that have messed up my life. On top of my mother, just constantly telling me how sorry I am, wish I was never born, just on and on and on type stuff. But I didn't bring out other things. There was being pulled by the hair, there was being knocked upside the face. I got hit in the nose one time and bled. I mean, just slapped in the back with as hard as you can, where you can't knock the breath out of you. Many times that happened. Uh, and like I said in the other video, my mother would pinch your flesh and call us a sorry slut. I mean, we're two boys, and I didn't know what a slut was back then, but just the mental abuse. But there was something else I forgot to tell that Frank did. In my second part, I talked about my haircut, which was another one of them really big things in my life that really, you know, I won't ever forget, because it was very humiliating. But I must have been, I think I was in the first grade, and Frank told us, I mean, this may sound a little gross, but, he said, if you boys don't, let me tell you first, there's five people living in a little, very small 3-bedroom wood frame house in Dallas and Oak Cliff, with one small bathroom. And you know little boys, young boys, most even grown men, when they go pee, they don't lift the lid. Well, Frank came in there one time, and he told me and Donnie, which was my brother, he said, if I ever walk in that bathroom again and find out that you went in there and you didn't lift the lid when you peed, I'm going to make you wipe it off with your hands and lick your hands. Okay. That happened to me twice, and it took two times, and it worked. I have to admit, his method worked. I don't approve of it, but it's just another humiliating, disgusting form of child abuse. To do to a child. I was probably, I guess I was 6 or 7, and that's another thing that stands out. I mean, nowadays, that would just, if that story was to pop up anywhere nowadays, you know how many people would get on Facebook and tell that person needs to go to prison, get shot, and all that stuff like that. And I do realize this was the '60s, and a lot of other stuff happened like that. But I did want to. There's, I have 1,000 tales I could write a book on. I promise you. But I just want to bring out them parts that stand out with me. But like I said, there was every kind of abuse there was. From being hit, beat, to physically humiliated, then mentally abused. I didn't even talk half about what my mother's done to me my whole life. As far as mental abuse. She never said one kind word to me. So I'm just gonna sum it up and say I'm 55 years old. Uh, I've had a pretty sucky life. I've done the best with what I've had to work with. I'm not, like I said, I'm really not looking for sympathy, but I just, you know, like I was saying in my very first video, talking about it really helps. And I'm not the only one. I know that, and there's a lot of people out there that were, you know, abused, even probably abused physically, mentally, and sexually. I'm not going to talk much about the sexual part of it, but I'll paint a picture for you. Like I was telling you in the first video, that I spent my life working my weekends on the farm, and we lived in this. On the weekends, we'd leave on Saturday, wouldn't come back till Sunday night. It was just me and Frank in this little bitty, small, tiny trailer, and just he was, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But I gave up so much, for I don't remember if I said it in any of my videos. My friends want to play on the weekends, and I couldn't do that because I had to go to the farm and work every weekend. And then I was abused down there, and anyway, I just want to wrap it up. And please, if anybody has any comments, questions, anybody needs any help, be glad to talk to you. Like I said, talking helps. It's a band-aid. I'm going to die that way. I'm going to die with all these memories, and there's not enough, psychology in the world that could help me from the abuse that I've been through. So, but I'm proud of myself that I'm able to even be able to sit here today and talk to you people, because, it was a pretty tough life, and I hope if I've helped one person, it would make me feel good. And I'd like to hear somebody else's story. If not that I want it to be worse than mine, but if I could hear somebody else's story, know that I'm not the only one that went through a sadistic, two sadistic people like this. That would help too. But this is the last one, and once again, thanks for watching, and keep the comments coming.